What's happening, YouTube? Paul from Main Mount Media, and I know it's been a long time, but today we're going to be talking about Fujifilm video rigs. Let's check it out. So today we're going to be talking about Fujifilm video rigs. I know we've done this before, but as you may know, we've been pretty inactive on YouTube. As much as we like to give back to the online community and engage with everyone, clients always come first, and we have had a crazy busy year. We've been producing videos pretty much 2 to 3 a month since the last time we came to you. We've been crazy busy. I apologize for not posting more on YouTube, but client always has to come first. And we've been engaging in a lot of really fun projects, everything from working with nonprofits to a 37-minute mini documentary that we created for the reopening of a ski mountain that we're really happy with. So that's going to be releasing in a couple of weeks, and hopefully y'all will get a chance to take a look at that, see what you think. But everything we've produced has been produced with these 3 cameras, of 2 Fujifilm X-T3s and an X-T4. And if you've seen some of our older videos, then you know these rigs are still fairly similar to the way they used to be, but we've made a few tweaks and a few upgrades, and at this point we're really pleased with the way that they operate and the output that they produce for us. So we're just going to talk a little bit about the rigs today, and hopefully these will help inspire you guys in your production. So this is our A cam. This is my camera that I generally shoot with because I like to have a camera up on my shoulder, also because I'm the sound guy. So sound equipment adds a little bit of weight, and so me being up on the shoulder and having a little extra weight on my rig really goes hand in hand very well. So this is the rig that you've seen. It's similar to before, but at this point, we've added a few things. Number one, you might remember that I had to hook up the Zoom H4n Pro, which is kind of a clunky item. It runs on AA's and it chewed through batteries, which meant we were changing batteries every 2 interviews, and it didn't really have a home permanently to live on my rig, which was kind of frustrating. That meant that I generally would only hook it up for interviews and then use AA batteries in my Sennheiser MKE 600 shotgun, which was okay, but not ideal. Now we've got this, I invested in this beautiful little piece of equipment that's just hiding down here under my battery plate. This is the Beachtek DXA Red, which is a little audio interface designed specifically for Red DSMC rigs because they don't have audio interfaces in them. The cool thing about this is they do a main out for Red cameras that have some specific audio requirements, but they also give you an auxiliary out, which is balanced and usable for any DSLR or mirrorless camera. So this is a really nice piece of equipment. It has a devoted gain dial as well as a few manual switches, which I really like. I always like to be able to physically switch or turn a dial rather than digital interfaces whenever possible. So what that gives me is 2 XLR inputs on the back side here. So one, of course, goes to my shotgun on body and provides phantom power, as well as the other one available plug-in for a boom during interview setups, which I really value, and it's really nice to be able to provide phantom power without AA batteries to both of those microphones. That really helps me a lot. Speaking of phantom power, we also upgraded, rather than a dummy plate and then plugging power into these guys, we now go with a dummy battery directly into the X-T3s. And then we have a 12-volt power coming from this smart plate, which is from IndiProTools. Highly recommend it. It's been really helpful. It's just right up on these 2 15mm rails. And out the side, we have a 12-volt out, a 7.2-volt DC out, 5-volt USB out, as well as a D-tap out. So I use the D-tap to power the Atomos Ninja, and then the USB power out actually can power that DXA Beachtek audio interface. Everything on this rig is powered by one single plate that just can quickly swap V-mounts in and out whenever those get low. So that's a really nice upgrade, much quicker and a little more efficient and reliable for nice long interviews or long film days. You can just quickly swap out batteries. I did upgrade my top handle as well. I really liked the rubber grip from Smallrig, but Kondor Blue created this top handle that has a record button built into it. This record button on top does work and can plug into my Fuji, so I can start it recording on the camera or on my top handle. And then I also, if you've seen my previous videos, you know I custom wired a small little button into my side handle. I have now redesigned my side handle a little bit, and I bought a wooden handle and drilled a button right in. And then I bought from Kondor Blue a RE Rosette quick rotating mount here, so I can quickly fold this right up out of the way for setting it down on a table or hooking it up onto a tripod, or I can quickly flip it out and it's ready for a shoulder film. So sits right on my shoulder just like it used to, and as you can see, most of the cables are away from me, which is nice. And then on this side, I've got, as you can see, my little audio interface here, and then my follow focus right here hooked up to my 18 to 35. And then also we have our ND graduated filters right on the front. And so all with my left hand, you know, this is really well balanced in one hand. And so with my left hand, I'm free to focus or change my exposure with the NDs, or obviously navigate menus on my Ninja. So that's our A-cam, super helpful. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, requests, or anything like that, leave them down in the comments section below. All of this equipment is bought and paid for by us with our own money, not sponsored by anyone. So we're free to talk about any and all of this stuff. So let us know if you have any questions. Let's move on. Here we have our B cam. So this is Spencer's camera. This is set up exactly the way he likes it. Very minimalistic and a little more shoot from the hip, like quite literally he shoots from down here. I, as you know, like to shoot a little higher angle, so that really cuts together nicely, gives us a little bit of variety in our footage. And because this is so small and simple and lightweight, he can really, you know, he can shoot high angles, he can shoot low angles, and can really carry this, you know, pressed right up against the belly or the chest pretty much all day. So as a result, he keeps his monitor up here on a tilt and swivel mount. You can see this is a little tilt swivel mount from Smallrig. He's got a nice, really sturdy handle on the side, so you can hand this off to other people, or just if you have to walk or hike at any point. He also has the Kondor Blue top handle, so he's got the record button on the top, which is really nice, but his right hand grip is set up right on the camera with the extended grip from the cage that Smallrig makes. So got a nice sturdy grip, and he's got controls of the camera. The little monitor down here is where the settings display, because we like to do a clean feed out so we can record on the Ninjas. So when he's holding it here, he can look right down at that top down monitor, which is really nice to have a tilt swivel screen from the X-T3 as opposed to the 4, which would get in the way over here on the sides. And this is it. It's really simple. He generally runs the Rode. This is the Video Micro as opposed to the Sennheiser. So this is just a little smaller, a little more compact, and it doesn't require any battery. It doesn't need to be turned on or off at any point. So that's just a nice, like, set it and forget it type of thing. And for him, it's just a little easier. And again, these things do a really good job for such a small microphone. You might have seen our tests that we did with them out, both indoor and outdoor, for booming. So this is it. It's really simple. He's also got that nice IndiProTools smart plate set up with the V-mounts, so these can just slip right on and off, and then full 12 volt running into the dummy battery in the X-T3. He also has the D-tap control powering his Ninja, and it's really, that's all there is to it. A couple of rail mounts so that it can be tripod mountable, and that's it. Nice and simple, quick and dirty. And he almost always runs the 24 to 105. The only time he ever switches up is if we go indoors and we just have some low light scenarios. Sometimes he'll throw on his 35 prime, or you know, we've even had him use his 14-1.8 from Sigma, which is a fantastic interior lens, beautiful wide angle bright lens. But this is nice because it's got the stabilizer on it, so he can use that whenever he needs. And since I'm shooting 18 to 35, he shoots 24 to 105. And then if we need something longer than that, like I said, my A-cam can very well handle 70 to 200 without too much rebuild. as well as the C-Cam can throw the 50 to 140 on there with a longer lens, IBIS, and stabilization. So this is a really nice intermediate camera. Honestly, if we had one camera to get the whole job done, this is probably the best single camera to get the whole job done. It's very versatile. It's very travel friendly, and fairly rugged. He's generally got gaff tape covering all his ports that aren't being used. He's used this out on snowy days and windy days on ski slopes, and it has held up just fine. So fantastic little B cam. This is a good rig. And here we have our C cam. So this is a nice little setup. It's super lightweight. It's weather sealed. It's rugged as can be, and it is the X-T4. So it is equipped with in-body image stabilization, as well as the two lenses we generally shoot on here are the 10 to 24 f4, as well as the 50 to 140 2.8, which both have optical image stabilization in them as well. So even though it's a small, lightweight setup, we've got some of that stabilization technology to help us shoot handheld and still get some nice, usable, steady footage. So right here, I've got just an X-T4 with a cage on. I have another one of those Kondor Blue top handles with the record button on it, so I can be getting my low angles and be recording, or anytime I don't have my right hand free, I can still record and get a shot, which is really nice. Because this is such a minimalistic setup, there's plenty of room for the little screen to flip out. So the only thing is I do have to wiggle it around the mic input, which is, it is what it is. But that's a pretty cool little setup for us. You know, we can shoot low angles with the flip down screen. I can hold it up and get some nice high angles whenever I need to, or I can just be shooting it flat on the back just like that. The beauty of this little setup is that if I take this top handle off, this fits right in a backpack. So for example, if we're shooting skiing footage on hill and the weather starts to turn on us a little bit, whether it's super windy and cold or snowing, that rig is not particularly weather sealed. So this is a really nice option. We can get out in any conditions with this setup. And that just allows us to be a little more flexible. Another thing that's really convenient is, generally speaking, Spencer sticks to his B cam that we just showed you, and I'm sticking with either my A or my C cam. And all three lenses that I'm shooting with, whether it's the 18 to 35 1.8 from Sigma, the 10 to 24 from Fuji, or the 50 to 140 from Fuji, they all have a 72 millimeter front filter thread, which means I can use the same variable ND filter for all three of these, which is really convenient. And then the other beauty of these two is that since these two lenses we choose for the handheld stuff are both native glass, that means that autofocus is as good as it can possibly be. So sometimes with this run and gun little handheld setup, it's nice to be able to rely on autofocus, especially with the X-T4 tracking. It's been really helpful for ski footage this year. So this is our C-Cam, and that really rounds off the setup. We can do just about everything that we need to do with these three setups. And then of course, as we've talked about in the past, the beauty of running a small mirrorless camera that you build out yourself makes it very modular. So whenever there's a specific setup that you need, it's always an option to take apart the rig and build out however you need. So in specific settings, whether we want to do a top down for say like a cooking video or something like that, we always have the freedom to rebuild these in any way that we need to. So again, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave them in the comments section below. We're gonna try to get to YouTube a little bit more. Again, I apologize for not being more active recently, but I appreciate you checking in with us, and we look forward to hearing from you in the future. Thanks again, take care.